Hey everybody, welcome again to the Girls EmPOWered podcast. It is your host, Dallas Gordon, and I am here with my lovely COO, Julia Wali.
Hey everyone.
So guys, we are super excited to be here with you for episode number 2, and we are chopping it up today about our women entrepreneurs given as much respect as the men. So this is a topic that maybe some people don't really want to touch on, but I know that several women in our network have this question. It's a conversation that comes up sometimes. It's kind of sticky, so we want to talk about that today. So we are so excited. Thank you so much for everyone who has listened in on our podcast. We had a very successful episode number 1. We encourage you to support us by following, commenting, joining in on the discussion, and be sure to send us any topics that you want us to get into, or if you're interested in being a guest or being featured on Girl Power Ignite, definitely send us a message and let's talk about it. So we're talking today, once again, guys, about women entrepreneurs, and are we given as much respect as the men entrepreneurs? So we want to talk about the male presence and how we deal with the differences between women and men in the business space, guys. So our first question is going to be the male presence. So the first, is it a question, Julie? I'm getting tongue-tied. So the male presence tends to be more dominant in the business space. So that's our first point, and one thing that we notice. So we want to talk about what are some of the reasons why that the male presence seems to be more dominant in the business space. So let's talk about that a little bit first.
Right. So it just seems like men just kind of take that leap forward. They have more faith. They have that they have that go-to attitude. So they go out there and they do their thing and they get everything done. And then here comes this little female tricking along like, hey, can I come in? And it's really hard to distinguish whether or not we're being shut out by them or we're just kind of like being scooted to the side. Like, all right, you're not up to par as of yet.
Right.
But I have to say that there is seriously a huge dominant by men in the entrepreneurial industry. So there are more men out there just because they have more confidence. Some women just literally lack the confidence in going out there and taking care of their business or doing the things that they are passionate about. So that's my take on it. What do you think, Dallas?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, naturally men have been at this for a very long time. Back in the day, kind of like where society has come from, where men, back in the old times, okay, they were the breadwinners. They were the people that went out there and made things happen. So I think that most men naturally have that get up and go, let me provide for my family. It's very old fashioned today. It's an old fashioned way of doing things. But I think that from where we came from history, that women have really had to fight their way in because we had our role. It was kind of like we had our role. And back then it wasn't common for women to desire to have their own or to do their own thing. It was kind of like we were just used to kind of ruling over the family.
Be in the house, take care of the kids, cook the dinner, and the husband's going to bring the bacon to the table.
Exactly. And that's kind of like the old fashioned way of doing things. And I'm curious, Julia, how does your family do things? Do you and your husband still do you have kind of like an old fashioned setup? Do you still kind of incorporate some of those values, or are you just completely into the new way of doing things? I'm curious.
Well, I think I would like to say that we modernize things. So we do a combination of both because there are some great things that came from the old fashioned lifestyle. Like my husband is the head of the household, but we also talk to each other. We connect, we share ideas, we talk about our finances together. So no decision is made with just one person. We make that together. So I do take care of the majority of the household chores, but he's okay with taking care of some laundry every now and then. So we share the responsibility, and I think we kind of modernize it.
Okay, so more like teamwork, because that's kind of like how my house works, where my husband and I like to consider ourselves very old-fashioned. My husband is a man's man, and he just loves to take care of me, the kids. He loves to be that take care of type of person, because honestly, that's just the person he is. He loves to be needed. He loves to fill in the gap. He loves to flex his muscles. He loves to do those things. But then at the same time, we operate so much like a team. So if
Right.
there's certain things that he just can't tend to right now, I will tend to them. Or like you said, no one person is making decisions. We always talk it out. And no one person is above, and well, I am a little above cutting grass. Okay. I just,
And maybe taking the garbage out.
yeah, I don't do those things, ladies. And that's just me. And I know some women have no problem rolling up their sleeves and doing those things. But it's just something I don't do in my house. But most decisions or most tasks, we both kind of do those things. Like he will fold clothes, but then there's certain things he just really never does. And I always take care of it. Like making doctor's appointments for the kids. That's just kind of like my thing, or sometimes making plans for us. It's just kind of like my thing. So I think it just depends on the couple. And I definitely agree with you, Julia. Nowadays, I feel like we kind of mix the modern with the old fashioned. And I think it's completely nothing wrong with that. So I just figured I'd throw that in there because I do feel like some of the reason why it seems that the male presence is more dominant than it, in the business sector than it is with women is because of our history. So we can't forget about where we've come from. Women are still always fighting their way into different areas. Yep. Trying to have a woman president. We're trying to, we're trying to break the mold. And I feel like in every single area, there was a first woman doctor. There was a first woman speaker. There was a first woman preacher. There was a first woman inventor. In every area, us women have had to break the mold in some way. Right. So I feel like sometimes that struggle is still felt.
Someone who said that I'm confident enough to know that I can do it just as great as a man in each area, in each kind of industry. And that's kind of where we are in regards to men dominate the entrepreneur industry. We have to speak up. We have to use our voice. We have to have that confidence. We need to utilize that because, there's for it. There's so much room for it there. So why not?
Yes, exactly. And this talk, ladies, and whoever's listening in is not to bash either gender. We love our men. We love our kings. We love our men, and our men love us. But this is definitely a controversial topic that needs to be discussed. We need to talk about this, and we need to see what are the reasons why and what can we do to change it. What can we do to, increase our presence in this space. And like you said, Julia, another reason is because of our roles. Sometimes because we are busy taking care of the kids, we are busy cooking, we are busy sacrificing for everybody in the family. Sometimes women take the role of being more of like a support system, and they give up all their goals and dreams, and they, live their life through other people. And sometimes that's another reason why it seems that some of the men are more dominant, because the women are more so falling back to be that support system because somebody has to do it while he goes after the dreams, Right. So how does that feel, to a woman who's lived her whole life supporting, and she's never really felt like she kind of canned her dreams for everybody else?
It's nerve-wracking.
How does that feel,
I can say it's nerve-wracking because for a while I've been in that position, not because I'm like I have to be there, but because I wanted to be that support. And then when the roles kind of switched, when the support was coming in on my end to push me out the door, it was so weird and it was nerve-wracking, and I didn't have the confidence to do it. However, I know that there was something that needs to be done. There's something that I had to provide out there to the world that no one else could. So I needed to get on my horse and get the job done. So
I think we've all been there, Julia. I think we've all been at a place where it's kind of like, can I do both? Like, can I still be that support system for my husband and still make him feel supported? Can I still be that mom for my children that makes my children feel supported, but still be a little bit selfish and still keep a part of me? And I feel like, I know me personally, I don't know about you ladies out there, but I know that I honestly fight hard to keep a part of me. I really do. I feel like I lost myself through each of my children in some way. I lost a part of myself, and I've fought each time to gain that back. Even when it's little stuff like just keeping myself up. I know that this is going in a different direction, but nails.
Still good.
Exactly. Makeup. These are things I fight for. Shower time. Bath time. These are things that I'm daily fighting for. My dreams. Like, I refuse to lose myself in my children. And then when they leave the nest, I'm sitting here holding nothing in my hands, and I feel so empty. And I have to build. I know so many older women who have said that they have experienced that. And I'm so afraid for that to be me. So we want to hear from you guys in the comments. We want to hear from you guys in our inbox. Just let us know. Have you dealt with this? How do you feel about it? You know, because I know that I've definitely felt what you felt, Julia, that can I do it all? Is it anything wrong with me wanting my own piece of the pie and still being excellent, you know, in kind of like these roles? Okay, so we spun off a little bit. Maybe it needed to be talked about. But the second question that we want to really ask is, could it possibly be the stigma that comes along with women entrepreneurs? Could that be the reason why it seems that men are more respected?
Hello.
So Julia, maybe you can speak on that a little bit. Is it a stigma with us that might cause that?
I think that there is. I absolutely think that there is a stigma. I mean, for one, let's face it, some of us women, we are dramatic. We are full of drama. We like to cry. We like to stomp. We like to, you know, kind of have our feelings, wear them on our sleeve. And unfortunately, a lot of men don't have the patience to deal with that kind of stuff, especially in a business setting. They want you to come there with your goal in mind and focus solely on that. So when we're in this area of our feelings, or when this area of drama and taking every single thing offensive outside of sexual comments, let me just lay that out there. Don't be like that, okay? But we're in that area. Some of the men, they just feel like we're diverting, you know, them from what they're supposed to focus on, the business mindset. We need to be able to distinguish the difference between personal and professional. And that goes for everything overall, as well as men. So we need to be able to come in with a professional mindset, knowing that we're in there about our business, and everything else truly doesn't matter unless someone's crossing the line and completely disrespecting you. But we're in there about our business. And some men don't want that drama. They don't want the but you know, this and sometimes I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. So, you know, it's important that we have that mindset, that focused mindset on business. We're professionals. We're going there to create our business and build our business. And sometimes we can't do that.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I can say that our partnership is probably one of the less drama-free partnerships that I have ever experienced. We just kind of tell it like it is. We get things done. We don't have time for emotions, you know, and we do a lot of things too to soften the relationship, especially when we're communicating over message, where we send hearts and we use nicknames, and we do things to always soften our communication, because it can be, you know, tough, especially with messages, but that's another conversation for another day. But yes, it can be a lot of drama. And I think that, yes, women do carry that stigma. We do carry that stigma that, oh, if females are involved, it's going to be, you know, this disaster. If females are going to be involved, you know, it's got to be drama, you know. And sometimes I think that because of that stigma, a lot of people and men don't give us as much as respect, you know, as we really should get, because of the way that maybe we conduct ourselves. Could that be possible, ladies? Could some of us maybe take some responsibility that possibly they don't want to work with us, or they don't want to listen to us or respect our information, maybe because they think that we're a little bit of an emotional roller coaster. And because of that, we're not viewed sometimes as stable, you know, because I feel like the men are, like you said, they're more laid back. And they're more focused on the business instead of, and I know there are some men out there though that are very drama filled. Okay. And you know, it's a rare kind, but they're out there. But most men is just kind of like, let's just do this business and let's just focus there. But I just feel like sometimes with women, it's like, oh, I don't like how she talked to me. And, you know, it's like this power struggle sometimes between women, who's on top, who's in charge, who's better, who looks better, who, you know, I don't know. It's just always that static, you know.
And it's crazy, and it's so unfortunate, because that holds us back. That's why men are there's so many more men in a successful, I guess, platform or successful situation as an entrepreneur, because things like that hold us back. And we shouldn't allow that to happen. We should stay focused. We should maintain our focus on the point, which is our business, and that's it, and just kind of take it from there. Everything else just needs to take a back seat. Unless you my kids
100%.
calling me for an emergency.
Exactly.
I don't know.
100%. So I completely agree with that, Julia. And okay, so we tackled that. So the next thing that we want to talk about is, talking from our own experiences, Julia, how have we personally, and we want to hear from the audience too, how have you personally dealt with unfair treatment, possibly when it comes to gender? Like, have you ever been in a situation, Julia, where you really felt slighted, in dealings with another man entrepreneur or another man in business, or it could have been in the workplace or at home or wherever, that you really felt like you weren't given that chance just because of your gender? Have you ever experienced that?
So I would have to say in my workplace, definitely. I used to be a resident service manager in property management, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. And my supervisor, my manager, he was male, of course. And I also had other subordinates and coworkers and things to that nature. And I did feel as if that he treated certain people better than me because of the gender. Example, there was a maintenance manager. Our levels were very equivalent in regards to where we were at. He would make some mistakes, okay? Let's just say that. He would make some mistakes, and he would get off scot-free a lot of the times. And his mistakes sometimes would have been detrimental to the organization. But the moment I made a mistake, I actually got a write-up. And that made me feel some kind of way. I felt like he gave that man a lot of favoritism and a lot more respect. And I put in a lot more work than this other individual. So I was really upset about that. And it made me not want to work under any male again because of those kind of circumstances. Like, am I ever going to be treated fairly because I am a female? I mean, there were other factors in play, but I think most of it was because I was a female. So he went harder on me than he did the other individual. And when asked about it, because I'm an outspoken person, this is just not going to happen.
Right.
And, we ain't going to talk about it. He said his excuse was because he knew that I can give more than what I was given. That wasn't valid to me because I didn't see that support and I didn't see that leadership from him. So that was a really funky situation, and that caused me to never want to work under anybody again.
Wow. See?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, share with us, ladies, how you may have experienced, situations just like Julia did in the workplace that really just made you feel, oh my goodness, disgusted, with working for a male because of how you may have been treated. Definitely share that with us. And Julia, I can 100% feel you with that. And in my case, as a coach and as a business owner, it has been really where I have felt like, because I am a woman, what I have to say, my information, how valid it is, how effective, my training is, I feel as though men have this, I'm not listening to that, from her type of, I'm not going to learn from her. I'm not going to learn to make money from her. And I just feel like in the online business space, especially with e-commerce and with coaches, there are just these large hubs of men, boys clubs, basically, where they are high-fiving each other. And when a woman comes, in the middle of that, it's silence. And I feel crickets. I'm a part of different, it's crickets. I'm a part of different masterminds, and I'm a part of, different groups of people. And I've seen it that when I'm shouted out, or when me and another female are shouted out, no one says anything, not a congratulations, nothing.
Wow.
But when it's a man, it's all this rah, rah, rah. It's all this cheer. It's almost like they are almost intimidated that we are in the space and they don't want to support. So
that's exactly what it is. They are.
I feel like I'm just as good as a e-commerce coach. I'm just as good as a strategist. I'm just as good as a speaker or anything else in the gender that I'm in. And I don't feel as though a man is better than me because he's a man. And I do feel that some sort of shade has been thrown my way. And I do feel like it is directly related to my gender. And I have felt like that was unfair at times. So I have experienced that. I've even experienced that in past relationships where, what I had to say, and I think a lot of us experienced that, what I had to say didn't matter.
Yep.
My opinion didn't matter. The final say or decision. And I'm thanking God that my husband is in that way. But I've been in other relationships where the men were extremely, like a male chauvinist or whatever you want to call, but like they were very like, you don't matter. You're just a woman type thing. You know,
right.
What does your opinion matter? And I just didn't feel like in those situations, like I really had a voice, you know, and that's never a good feeling. So yes, definitely, Ralph, we want to hear from you about your own experiences, ladies, and how, you know, you've dealt with this, how you feel about this topic. Have you experienced unfair treatment? Or maybe some people have never experienced where they don't acknowledge that they've experienced anything like this. But regardless of where your belief or where your stance is, we still want to hear from you. So definitely.
Right.
And we would love to get the conversation going. So before we go, we just want to talk about how can we make change? We never want to leave without talking about how we can make change. We never want to talk about the problem without talking about the solution. So Julia, talk to us a little bit about how can we change, you know, our feelings about men being more respected, you know, in this business space. How can we change that?
So first of all, I think the biggest thing with change is acknowledging the problem, right? So we acknowledge that the problem, we feel like the men in the field are more respected, but why? There is an underlying problem to that. Why? So is it because we're full of drama? Is it because we nag a bunch? What is it? What it is about our personality or us about women that makes them feel like they can't work with us? And we need to work on that. Work on us. It's important to work on us, because the more you invest in yourself, the better you'll be able to deliver out there to the outside world. So work on you.
Yes.
Find out what it is about you as an individual that you need to fix, because men don't want to work with you personally.
Right. Yeah.
Let's fix it.
100%. Look at that person in the mirror. I'm in complete agreement. I think that everything starts with us. I don't care what happens in my life. I'm always going to sit, reflect, and ask myself why. Because I want to know what role that I have in this thing that's happening to me. Sometimes it's just the way we perceive situations. So sometimes it's not the men. Sometimes it's not the men. It's because we have issues with ourselves that we carry around, and we project our issues on the men. I know that women are perfect for projecting their feelings on other people. Like if I'm insecure and I feel like I'm not pretty today, well, you have to be thinking that too. You know, if I feel like the men in the room are not going to be receptive of me, and that's how I feel, then everybody in this room also has to feel that way. So sometimes it's our insecurities that make us reflect certain things off onto the men. So maybe some of the men that are working with you or are in the same area that you're working in are not feeling any kind of way about you. Maybe you're rejecting them. Maybe that's the energy that you're putting out there because you feel insecure as a woman. So I do definitely feel like mirror work and getting in that mirror, Julia, like you said, and dealing with yourself first is a great way to combat this. What about collaboration? We always talk about collaboration at Girl Power Ignite, and we're all about woman working with woman. And I feel like that's another great way to combat this, is to prove that we can work together without drama.
Absolutely.
We can build without drama. We can be about our business without there being a lot of emotions and sadness and this and that all the time. We can pull it together. So I feel like us building a support system together, just like the men do, that's a great way for us to be lifted up. What would you say about that, Julia?
Yep. I would totally agree. I think that we absolutely need to fix each other's crowns, and that's the way for us to reach the top. I mean, it's nothing more powerful than women who are linking arms and rising together. So I really think that is, okay. I was freezing a bit, but so I absolutely think that that's the best way to do it, to link arms, to support each other, show nothing but support. It's okay if you're wrong in the area and someone else is going to correct it. They have positive intentions in doing so. And that's what we provide at Girl Power Ignite. We're here to help you excel to the next level while supporting you with growth, knowledge, collaboration, networking, whatever it is. That's what we're here to do.
Yes. And you know, for that woman who is going through something similar to what Julia mentioned, you know, if you are on the workplace and you're not getting that next promotion, you're not getting to your next level, you're not getting the work on your desk that you know you deserve because that man is standing over you and he's judging you, or if you are a coach like me, or you sell services, or whatever you do in the business space, and you don't feel like you can propel forward the way that you want to because people are being biased towards you, or people are being prejudiced towards you because of your gender, in that case, we encourage you to continue to push on. Continue to pay forward. Continue to show up for yourself. Continue to represent as we women have always had to do. You know that we've come a long way. Yes, girl power. Hello. We've come a long ways as girls. We've come a long ways as women, as queens, and we just have to keep paving on. We are unstoppable. So no matter who stands in our way, who tries to stop us, who tries to say that we can't do it because of our gender, we just got to keep our eye on the end result, the desired outcome, and we just have to keep going forward. So Julia, before we go, do you have anything else that you wanted to add? And before we end today?
Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move.
Hello. So take that song and do yourself a little jig away with you today, because it isn't any stopping us now, ladies. Okay, we are on fire. We are absolutely unstoppable. Honestly, the only one that can get in your own way is you. And that's why it's so important to start in the mirror when we deal with these issues. So once again, it is your girl Dallas Gordon and Julia Wali, and we have been here with another episode of the Girls EmPOWered podcast. Don't forget to contact us. Send us a message if you would like to be featured, or if you have topics that you would love for us to chop it up about. Please definitely send us those topics. And thank you so much, ladies, for joining us today. It has been so much fun, and we will see you on the next episode. Bye.